Hi guys, welcome back to MaYapinion. I want to wish you guys a happy new year. I hope you enjoyed your holiday and your break, and I hope you had a wonderful New Year's celebration. I know that we did. We went to a really fun 20s party because welcome to the 20s, and the 20s is a time that I just think would be so cool to travel back to. And we went to a really cool 20s party. And if you guys follow me on social media, you'll see pictures of it. I was a flapper. Jackson was a gangster. So it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun too. Welcome to the new year. So I'm back with Maya's Monday Motivation on MaYapinion. This is episode 5 of our relaunch, season 4, for those of you who have listened to my previous seasons and MaYapinion for a little while now. And today we're going to talk about what's your what. And you're probably thinking, what does that mean? In our last podcast, we talked about what's your why. I think your why is so important, and there can be hybrids of what your why is. However, talking about what your what is deeper because it's what is your purpose. That's what your what means. And some of you might be thinking, well, Maya, what my purpose is my why. My why is my purpose. And that's technically not the case. So we're going to dive into that and talk about that and talk about why, what is your purpose, why that's so important, and how your whys lead you to your purpose and help define your purpose. And your whys are always shifting, and some stay constant through your life, but some are always shifting. Like we talked about the family, why that's pretty constant for most people once they have a family. But, some whys, a cause might become important to you later in life where it wasn't important before. So there's different shifts that happen. What your purpose is, that defines really your whole life. Now, when I talk about this with people in the professional setting, whether I'm mentoring them, leading them, regardless of what the relationship is, this doesn't always happen as early in the relationship as what is your why. That happens early. This conversation doesn't always happen early. It's deeper. It's defining your life. And then people will say to me, well, I don't really know what my purpose is. There are people that I'm in my 30s. There are people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s on up that are still trying to figure out what their life's purpose is. And that's totally fine. And we're going to talk about today how you can analyze your life and try to understand or take some steps to understand what your life's purpose is, because life is a journey. It's not just a destination. So throughout your life, it's trying to figure out what your purpose is, that overall umbrella. So it can be confusing trying to understand your why versus your what. And I really want to stick on the W theme, the who, what, when, where, why. So we're talking about our what today. And it's fine if you don't know what your what is. Something to think about too is what is important to you is not going to be necessarily important to me. And that's something that it will drive your why, but that's also going to drive your purpose, because importance equals purpose. Importance means purpose. Let's kind of dive into that and talk about that. So when I'm having this conversation with people about their purpose, like sometimes I'll meet people that are going to report to me, or I'm mentoring, or I'll just meet people throughout life and they're struggling with what is their purpose. And whether it's a direct conversation about it, or it just comes up, or they want to change positions. I've had individuals come to me and tell me very directly that they're unhappy with their position. And then I know that as a supervisor or mentor or whatever it is that I'm doing for them, I'm doing my job effectively because they're able to come to me and feel comfortable saying that they're unhappy with their life or feeling unfulfilled. But before I just try to jump ahead and figure out where they need to go next, I ask them what they like about what they're doing currently. whether it's something unrelated to their job or details of their day-to-day in their job, whatever the case may be, it's important that they understand what they love already, because that will help them define their purpose. And I'll use myself as an example. So when I was first starting out in my career, I was working for a men's clothing company. Again, those of you who listen and follow know this. I was there for a long time. I put myself through college working there, and I ended up going to corporate and started my career there, which was great. But I didn't really think that my life's purpose was to clothe men and help men find the right clothing. No, that was not my life's purpose. But I don't know that I would have thought about that at the time. As my career continued to evolve, because I didn't feel like I was being fulfilled, but one of my whys has always been money, right? So I was definitely driving towards that. I was corporate, I was getting promoted. When I went on to work for David's, I went to a women's company, my life really shifted. I started to understand my purpose a lot more, because loved the fact that I continued to get promoted. I was working it for a corporate office. I was very young. All these things were lining up with my whys. I wanted to travel. Different things were lining up. But I had over 100 people reporting to me, and the majority were women. I think I had 2 or 3 guys at a given time. So through that experience, I started to understand my purpose through having these conversations and mentorship, because it was meaningful that I was able to help women in these conversations understand where they wanted to go. Did they want to be promoted within the company? Did they want to go back to school? Did they want to have a family? Did they want a work-life balance? Did they want a completely different career, and did they want advice on that? And I started to feel really fulfilled through that, and I listened to that. And maybe I didn't take action right away, but I've carried that from that experience and realized that that's my life's purpose, is to give back and help women move on to whatever it is that they want to do. So I find it very gratifying when I'm able to make those connections with the women that report to me. I mentor, I meet throughout life, and I'm able to help them move on to what they're really passionate about, or get to the place that they really want to be. Because those conversations are not always easy, but I know that I've done my job, or I've completed my passion, if they feel comfortable enough to come to me and talk about things. When I was in my position at Just Bank, David's, I've had women come up to me and say, I want to do what you're doing. How do I do that? That's a huge compliment. But not everybody wanted to do that, right? But it was so awesome to be inspirational for these women. And those were some of the first moments where I was like, okay, like maybe there's something here, because it gave me that warm, fuzzy feeling. And it was a different feeling than I had felt before. Not just like a feel good, I watched a good movie kind of thing. It was like, wow, like, yeah, I really want to mentor this woman and like tell this woman how to do this and how to get here. Like, you're on the right path. You're working for a great company. Here's this and this and this. Here's what I did. No two paths are alike. And I find that such a great challenge too, in a positive way, because her story, although she might want to go the same route as me, her story is not going to be the same as mine, which again, I think is a passion of mine and what's brought me into my purpose in helping women. I've also had women come to me because of these relationships and what I'm talking about, and feeling that comfort level, and tell me they want to leave this business and they want to move on, or they want to go back to school, like I was saying. And I have no problem letting them know, hey, guess what? Our company will pay for you to go to school XYZ, right? And help them on that path. Hey, guess what? That's awesome. Here's what you can do within our company to further your career so that you can go to that next job. That's when I really realized what my purpose was. And I think that's an important thing. And I don't think I'm done learning what my purpose is. But again, it's thinking about those whys, but my whys drove me to my purpose. I knew I wanted to make money. That was a why. I knew I wanted to be independent. I think some causes have also driven me to my why for sure. So let me give you a really strong example in my opinion. I had a young lady, we'll stay on the bridal theme because I'm diving into the bridal world. We'll stay on that because I had a lot of amazing women working for me, and I could probably give you examples all day long, but you don't want to listen to a 4-hour podcast on that. I mean, maybe you do, but that seems quite long. So there was a young lady working for me, and she was a phenomenal leader. Her team loved her. She was not the store manager. She didn't run the store, but she ran external events, right? That's who reported to me. She executed her events flawlessly. She was a top seller. Her team respected her. She also managed a team that was external. So if you guys are familiar with staffing and events and things like that, you have to staff people that, whether they show up or not, like you have to build that kind of relationship so they will, because there's really no consequences if they don't show up. They just don't work the next event, which is very challenging. So it says a lot about your character when you have repeat people that show up for things like that. She always made her goals, and if for some reason she didn't, I mean, I don't know that I can think offhand of a time she didn't, but regardless, there was an analysis afterwards. I was blown away by her. I couldn't believe that she hadn't been promoted past the position that she was in. But things kind of fell together for me as I watched her, and she ended up leaving the company and opened her own bridal store, her own shop. I was not surprised by this at all. I've had quite a few people report to me in my time. I've seen some people make some decisions, and I've been shocked by them. This one was not one of them. She was well overdue to do this. It was incredible. So she ends up opening this bridal shop. She becomes very successful, smashing hit. Her why, she has a passion for the product. She's a product person. Her why is her family. Her why is her too. The previous podcast I was talking about, you always have to put you as your why. That's your biggest why. She did that. She didn't wait for the promotion to happen at the company. She went after it herself, which is huge. But all those whys equaled her opening this. This is not her purpose. Just opening a shop isn't her purpose, and becoming successful at a bridal shop. It goes further than that. This young lady actually suffered from a really serious illness. She and has beaten it, from what I understand. And she's actually struggled with her weight on both ends because of this illness and life. Watching the support of women and what has gone on because of that, it becomes deeper. And she's beat this, and she's still continued to have this successful business. So because of all of that, her purpose has become showing women that they can obviously make it through anything, right? And be successful. But on top of that, she's shown women that they can be beautiful inside and out, regardless of what they're going through. Through example, she wears the items within her store. She puts it on social media. She's raw on social media. She tells people what she's going through. Her purpose is to inspire women, regardless of what they're going through, that they are beautiful inside and out. Because her shop obviously is not just bridal. It's anything that can make you feel beautiful. That's her purpose. And she found her purpose through this journey and through her whys. So hopefully that example helps with that. It's inspirational to me. I find myself more inspired by the people that report to me or have reported to me most of the time than, anything I've ever done. Really. I think it's so flattering when people say, oh, it's, you've been an inspiration to me. Like, I really want to do what you're doing. I think that's great, but it's really all the people that have been in my life that inspire me. So to flip it on the other side, I'll give you an example from myself. So one of my whys that I shared on the last episode is a cause now, right? Like, I love my animals. They're a why for me, my dogs. And I volunteer and I give back at the Atlanta Humane Society because I got Bonnie, my Chiweenie, from there 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago now that we're in 2020. And she saved me. She saved my soul after I lost my brother. It was the worst thing I've ever been through in my entire life. And I don't know what I would do without her. And it's a why for me. I need to give back because it fulfills me. So do I see myself when Lisa Vanderpump wants to pass the torch where she is marching against Yulin, which if you guys aren't familiar, it is where they actually eat dogs. It's disgusting in China, and like they think it's this whole spiritual thing, and it's disgusting. It's gross. Dogs are the most amazing creatures. Like, but do I see myself taking that over from Lisa Vanderpump, and that's my life's purpose? While that would be a dream come true in some ways, I don't know. That's not my life's purpose. It's definitely Lisa Vanderpump's life purpose, right? Like she found that through her love of animals, and like it was one of her whys. But do I see myself marching in that? Do I see myself helping? Yes, but it's not my life's purpose. My life is not defined by that. So I don't know if that helps define it for you guys, but it definitely does for me. Like your whys are so important, but they help drive you towards your final purpose. So how do you find out what your purpose is? Like, how do you figure it out? I was doing it not realizing that I was really digging in and trying to figure it out. But that is the first step. Like, what drives you every day? What makes you want to do whatever you are doing? And it might not be your job. A lot of us out there don't enjoy what we do for work, and that's okay. I am so lucky that I love what I do for work, and I have for a while, and I am lucky. But that doesn't mean that that's where it stops for your purpose. So, guys, if you're not happy at your job, if you're not happy in your career, at any point in your life, if you're 40, if you're 50, if you're 60, it doesn't mean that that is where everything ends, because maybe your purpose is something else. Because if your why is your family and you only want to put in a certain amount of hours during the week, there's nothing wrong with that. But your purpose might be something different. Maybe you're a cause person too. Maybe you're that hybrid. Maybe you're going to put in the time. You become so passionate about your family. You don't understand how there's children out there that don't have homes. And this leads you down this path. And guess what? You've now started this foster program. You've now started to adopt. It leads you to your purpose. You don't know where things are going to take you. So I use the family example because when you have a child, maybe that changes everything for you. Maybe that's going to drive you somewhere. Using myself as an example, what drives me? Some of my whys drive me, for sure. But helping people drives me. It truly drives me. Helping women understand what they want to do and how they find success drives me. And what energizes you? So what makes you excited? Like what makes you... So I'm not a morning person. Okay, so I can't use that. Like some people will say, like, what makes you jump out of bed in the morning? Nothing makes me jump out of bed in the morning, except for maybe a flight somewhere. And even like work. I do love work. So jumping out of bed to like fly or travel somewhere. But like nothing else really is going to be like, yay, like awesome. Like even Christmas morning, like I'm like, let's do all the presents. Christmas Eve, like that's how I am. I ask myself a different question. So find out how your energy works too. What makes it challenging for me to sleep in a positive way? For example, I enjoy doing this podcast so much because I'm passionate about it. And if one person listens to it and gets anything out of it, that energizes me. I want to stay up at night and do this because it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me because I hope it means a lot to one person. That energizes me. What keeps me up at night in a good way, not in a negative way? And then going back to what I was talking about, when you feel like emotional and very like overwhelmed watching like a really emotional movie, or so talking about one of my whys, you guys know those Sarah McLachlan commercials with the dogs, and like I cannot watch those commercials because I become so overwhelmed emotionally, and I didn't really listen to that for a while. And that's a part of my purpose. It's not my purpose, right? But it's a part of my purpose because who do you think I connect with and bond with and talk with when I'm volunteering and try to help and befriend? Women. Women. So during my volunteering, I'm also doing my purpose. But you pay attention to the things that get to your soul. So when you're watching a movie or you're reading a book or you're in a life experience, you're watching people interact, what really bothers you? A child going through a really hard time, a single mother, and animals that are abandoned, abused. What gets you feeling emotional, mad, sad, glad, happy? What really gets to you? Pay attention to that because it's probably a part of your purpose. And then what are you willing to sacrifice for? So I've always been willing to sacrifice a lot for whatever I want. I've been willing to sacrifice relationships. I've been willing to sacrifice time. I've been willing to sacrifice so much because money was so important to me. And it's still important to me because money equals freedom for me. It's a why for me. Why did I want that? Because it's part of my purpose. Because I want to have the time, the freedom, all of that to give back to women, to give back to people who want the same things that I want. That's when your why becomes your purpose. It becomes so much deeper. So what are you willing to sacrifice? Now, maybe you're not willing to sacrifice time away from your family. That's perfectly fine. That doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose or that your purpose isn't achievable. Maybe you're not willing to sacrifice travel, or maybe you're not willing to sacrifice some particular things that, I don't know what it is. You want to be located in a certain spot. There's different sacrifices that people make for certain things. When you're passionate about something, you're willing to sacrifice and do it, and also do it for free. You're not looking for any monetary gain, but the thing is, that's what is actually going to bring you money. And that's an entirely different episode for a different day. But that's what sacrifice also means. It's not just your time. It's not just your time away from your family. It's not just, time away from you or Netflix or things that you want to do. It's also money. What are the things you're willing to do for free? I started this podcast completely not knowing what was going to happen. Didn't care if I made a cent. Still don't care. I'm passionate about it, and I'll redo it and redo it and redo it and redo it until I like it. I will talk to people and will help women all the time, totally for free, because I'm passionate about it. I volunteer, help animals, because I'm passionate about it. It's starting to sound like my purpose might be animals too, but I promise you, there are why. Because I bond with women when I'm at the shelter and help them. These are the last two elements to think about too when you're kind of analyzing your purpose. Who do you want to help? We all know I want to help women, and that's what I'm talking about, and that's why I'm talking to you. But who do you want to help? Do you want to help children? Do you want to help people going through a particular illness? Do you want to help animals? Who do you want to help? Do you want to help just a cause in general? Save the environment. Think about that, but also think about how do you want to help them? Because let's say you want to save the planet or you want to save the oceans. Do you really actually want to get out in the ocean? Maybe you do, and this is really cool if you do. Go out and take a month-long leave or a 2-week leave, and that's how you spend your vacation. You go out and you actually clean the ocean and do a project, and that's incredible. Or are you someone that works in the community local to you, making people aware that things are going on with our oceans and bringing awareness to that? Or maybe you do social media campaigns about it. Or how do you want to help? Just because we're passionate about something doesn't mean that we want to help in the same way. I used to think that helping women, so when I first started to realize that I wanted to mentor and be a leader and be helpful. Obviously I was in a leadership position for my job, but I realized that I wanted to help in other capacities. I wanted to be able to mentor, lead, and give back to women like this on a podcast, writing, blogging. But I didn't have it right in the beginning. None of us do. And I thought that giving back was just befriending every single woman that needed help in some way, giving them whatever they asked for in some ways. Sometimes that's a monetary thing, right? Or it can be a time thief in the sense that someone's going through something very emotional and they just need you a lot. And it's a disservice to you and it's a disservice to them because you're actually not giving them the tools they need to succeed. And those were big learnings for me. And those were in my personal life, my professional life, and I'm not perfect. So I'm still learning from those for sure. But that's how I had to learn. How do I really want to help? How is my time not just best used, but like how is my purpose really going to work with this? And what is my purpose really? And it's giving back to women through channels that I feel fulfilled. And this is one of them. Because passion equals purpose. And when you're passionate about what you're doing, you're giving back so much more. You're not drained. You're energized, right? You're staying up as late as you want, or you are that person that's popping out of bed at 4, 5, 3 a.m. I know a lot of people like that. That's not me. I know I'm energized. I know I'm excited about something, like my job, like the women I work with, like the women I work for, all of that, because I stay up so late at night and I'm like, okay, God, I need to sleep. That's the gratifying piece for me, is when I know that I'm driven, I'm energized, I'm feeling excited about it, because that passion is there. So I hope you take that away from today, and maybe you can dive in to think about what your purpose is. It's not like your whys. Your whys you can really analyze and look at and try to figure out. And then from there, start to dive in and think about what your purpose is. But you don't have to know that today. You don't have to know that tomorrow. But when you figure it out, it's like a light bulb goes off. And your life is always just evolving and contributing to that purpose. So I want to thank you guys so much for listening to Maya's Monday motivation on MaYapinion. And I want to wish you guys a happy new year again. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram and Facebook at MaYapinion Podcast. Of course, you can follow me on my personal page too on Instagram at Maya Roffler. And we'll see you guys back here next week.